strong emotion. You know I'm feeling it too. All that you have been through. I've been walking with you all along. Every ghost you saw, every bad dream. Anytime you
has begun. Spin around, laugh to yourself. And I see you shine in every color, resting your head in my arms. You sing la 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 la. My God, I think I might be in love. Get rid of all your sorrows in the summer city. You'll never feel alone as long as you're with me. Get rid of all your sorrows in the summer city. There's no place on earth I would rather be. I found you today. It feels like it's been forever. Laughing all day. We spin around, your hand reaches mine.